Right, for this paper, we'll be working on Summer 2013 Question Paper 2, Variation 2. Now, we'll only be focusing on the data manipulation or Microsoft Access portion. Now, the reason why we are working on this paper is because for the database portion, it is a little bit different from the other papers. Now, in other papers, they will usually say, using a suitable database package, import the file something.csv into your database. But this one, instead of asking you guys to import directly, what it does is it needs you to create a new table first. Alright, granted, there are actually two ways to do this. You can still do the normal import, okay, or you can create a table and do the import first. Okay, so right now what I'll do is I will show you two ways to do this. Okay, the first way is to create a new table from scratch and then import the data into the table. Okay, so I already have Microsoft Access open. Okay, so what you will do is usually you will go to external data and then you will select text file, right? But if you look at question 19, it says create a new database with the following record structure. It did not ask you to import the data yet. So what you need to do is, if you see you have an empty table here, what you need to do is you need to go immediately to your design view. We'll give it a name, whatever. Okay, and type in the field name and data types here. Okay, so let's start this code, and then it says numeric or integer, right? Okay, so we're gonna select number. Okay, leave field size as long integer. Okay, then you also see that this will be unique for each record, right? This actually means that your code has to be the primary key. As you can see, there's a key here, right? So you've done everything correctly already. Okay, moving on, model. So this is text. Oops. Right. Connection. Type. RPM. Interface. GB. Alright, for this one, if you see, it says numeric, but it has a /1 decimal place. So yes, it means number, but if you look at number, right, you will notice that there are only integers here. Okay? No, sorry, you can choose double, my bad. Okay? You have to select double because a double represents any number that has a decimal place. If you select integer or long integer or even single, this means that your number is a whole number. Alright, so you need to select double. Moving on, capacity. This one you can set it as number because there's no decimal place. Size, number. Okay, but I need to change this to double. Okay, moving on, price, currency, okay, and then stock item. Yes, no. Okay, now currency will be displayed in euros with 2 decimal place. So go back to price, click here. Instead of selecting currency, you select euro. Okay, now save your table. So what's going to happen is if you open your table, you'll notice it's empty. Now what the question wants you to do is it needs you to import it. Okay, so let's move on to question 20 first. Assign the most appropriate field as the primary key field. You have done so already. And then it says save a screenshot showing the field names and data types used. Place a copy of the screenshot in your evidence document. Okay, print screen, paste it into your evidence document. I'm going to use the screen capture function. Right, just paste it in. Okay, and then it says import the data from the file j13storage.csv into the database. Okay, so right now we have an empty table. We're going to import the data. Right, so external data, text file. Right, I'm going to browse for the file. Remember to save everything in your student drive, yeah? Okay, now instead of saying import the source data into a new table, I already have an existing table, right? So I need to append a copy of the records to the table. So I'm going to select this and my table is Han, right? Click OK, blah, 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 blah. It's currently open and must be closed. Just say yes, so it will close the table in the background. Still delimited, no change. Next, here's the change. First row contain field names, okay? We always check the checkbox of this. But if you look here, the first row contains data, it does not contain the field names. So where are your field names? You have already specified that in your table. So you need to leave this unchecked. Okay? Next, and then finish. So if you double click on your table, you will notice that all the data has been imported successfully. Now this is the first way to do it. Alright? The next way is to import directly, but you need to do it a little bit differently. Okay? So this is the first way. I'm going to close. I'm going to delete everything. Okay, and then we're going to do the second way. Right, same thing, external data immediately, text file. I'm going to select this one, and this time I say import the source data into a new table because I don't have any tables yet. Okay, delimited, same thing. Okay, now if you look at the first row, it still does not contain the field name, so please leave this unchecked. Okay, click next. Now you will notice that Access actually put in field names for you, field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, what you need to do now is instead of clicking next, you need to go to advanced. And here is where you specify your data. Okay, it has to be done the same way. So code, long integer, leave it, model, short text, action, short text, type, RPM, interface, GBS. Okay, now notice that it actually gives you double. That's because Access detected that it has decimal places. So you can just leave it. Capacity, numeric, okay, fine. Size, see, it actually assigns a double data type to it, leave it. Price, change it to currency. Because if you don't, you won't see a symbol. And then stock item. Alright, so I'm going to click OK. Notice that all your field names have changed. Next. Okay, now here you need to select a primary key yourself. Look at question 20, it says assign the most appropriate field as the primary key, right? So choose my own primary key, and the code is the most appropriate field. Please do not select model because as you can see, some of it repeats. Okay, so select code because that is the field that distinguishes each record from each other. That's the unique field. Okay, next, finish. Okay, so this is the second way to import it. If you double click on it, you will notice that you have all the data as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the currency, right, format to euro. Right, going to save it. Okay, that's the first different part. Alright, let's look at question 23. Insert the following 3 records. I'm not going to do it because I'm lazy, but if you guys want to enter it correctly, okay, you need to click on the new blank record. You will see that the record selection jumps to a new record. Alright, so just enter one record, click on the new blank record again once you're done, and then it will shift to the bottom. Okay, now number 24, check your data entry for errors. What you need to do is to just compare what you have entered with whatever is displayed on question 23. Okay, now let's look at question 25. It says produce a report which contains a new field called price underscore per GB, which is calculated at runtime, blah blah blah. So before producing a report, you need to create a query, right? So select your table, create, alright, query wizard, click OK. Select everything because it says show all the fields and the labels in full. I'm gonna just click next and then go to modify the query design. Alright, so the first question requires you to create a calculated field, right? So price per GB colon, this means equals to, it's not this equals but colon, yeah, alright, equals to price multiplied by capacity. Okay, this basically means the reason why price has square brackets and all that is because it is an existing field. Okay, that's why you need square brackets. Price per GB does not have it because it's a calculated field. So I'm just going to save it first. You will notice that, oops, Okay, now you will notice that there's actually a format here. All right, before I saved it, this is what you see. All right, so if you look here, it wants it in currency, right? So I'm just going to change it to euro as well. Okay, let's run the query to see whether that works. Okay, euro lang lang. All right, back to design view. Okay, now it says shows only the records where the connection is internal. So connection is internal. Interface is SATA. We just use SATA. And the stock item is yes. Now in some questions, it will say that and it is a stock item. So if an item is a stock item, it should be yes. Okay, let's run it. Okay, you'll see that some of the records have been filtered out already. That's nice. Okay, so from here, this query, we're going to create the report that it wants. Okay, so create, make sure you select the correct query, and then go to report wizard. Okay, because it needs all the available fields. Okay, we're going to move everything over. No grouping here, and then it will say sorts the data into ascending order of type. Okay, type, and then ascending order of code, right? So I'm going to click next, landscape, because it says has a page orientation of landscape, fits on a single page wide, we can't see that yet. And then let's preview the report. Okay, always make sure that you are in print preview when you're looking at the report. Okay, because if I close print preview and I double click on the report, right, you will notice that you are actually in report view. Okay, report view doesn't show you how the report will look like when it's printed. You don't see whether it overflows to the next page or not. But if you go to print preview, this is what your report looks like exactly when you print it out. Okay, so what you need to do right now is to actually resize some of the labels as well as the fields, okay, because some of them are hidden. I'm not going to do all of it, I'm just going to show you one. Okay, so I'm just going to move the GBS over a little bit to the left and then expand the capacity so that the data can be seen. I'm going to resize the interface a bit. Right, move this over. Capacity. Okay, let's have a look. Preview. Right, that's better. Okay, please do the same for all this. Okay, let's go back to design view because it says calculates the average price per GB of these drives and show this value at the bottom of the price per GB column. Okay, so average price per GB, right? So price per GB, right click. Okay, total. Previously we encountered a lot of questions with total. Okay, right now it says average. So average will appear here. That's correct. Please do not move it upwards, okay, because it is supposed to appear at the end of the report, which is your report footer. Okay, then format the average price to currency with 2 decimal places. Okay, let's select this. All right, it's in euro already, it's fine. And then has the label average price per GB for all drives. Okay, so I'm going to put in a label. So I'm going to put it here, average price per GB for all devices. For all drives. Right, move this over a bit. Includes the title internal SATA storage devices at the top of the report. So internal SATA storage devices. Right, has your name, center number, and candidate number on the left in the footer. Now, when it says footer, please do not put it in report footer. Reason being, a report footer will only be printed at the last page of the report. Say you have 5 pages, it will only appear at the 5th page. Okay, so what's going to happen is during IGCSE ICT, if your printout does not have your name, center number, and candidate number, you will not be given the printout. So you need to put it in your page footer. Again, label on the left. Han MY422. Right, save it. Right, let's check it out. Print preview. Right, let's look at page number 1. Okay, it appears here. And let's look at page number 2. Appears here as well, and you will also notice that the average appears here as well. Okay, do some resizing and you will see the data already. Right, moving on to question 27, it says using the data selected in step 25, refine your search to produce another report which shows only those records from step 25 where type is SSD, GB_S is 6. Okay, now this means, okay, when it says using the data selected in step 25, it means you need to use the filtered data that you have already done in step 25. Now, usually when we create a query, we go back to the original table, all right, and then create another query and then a new report, right? But because in question 27 it says using the data selected in step 25, what you need to do is you need to create a new query, okay, based on the previous query, which means that in question 25 you filter out some of the stuff you don't want. So in question 27 you are using that filtered data to further filter. Okay, so I'm going to select the query here and I'm going to create. It's the same thing. Okay, I'm going to select query wizard. I click OK. I'm going to move everything over, the same thing, and then I'm going to modify the query design. But this time, you'll notice that in table here, right, it is J13 storage query, which is the previous query. Okay, now it says type is SSD, so I'm going to say SSD GB_S gigabytes per second is 6. Okay, so I'm just going to run it. You'll notice that there's less data compared to the previous one. More, less. Okay, I'm going to save it first. And then it says you also need to create a report. Okay, so I'm going to select the second query that I have just created from the first query. I'm going to create, and I'm going to select, same thing, report wizard. Okay, now shows only the fields model, connection, type, interface, GB_S, capacity, price, and stock item. Okay, no grouping as well. It's sorted into descending order of price. So price, descending, next, portrait wide, next, finish. Okay, so let's have a look. Includes the title, some of the fastest SSD drives at the top of the report, as your name, center number, candidate number at the top of the report. Okay, so let's go back to design view. Right, change this to some of the fastest SSD drives, and then has your name, center number, and candidate number at the top of the report. Now, top of the report doesn't mean in your report header. Okay, putting it in the report header is quite risky because if you have 2 pages, it's only going to appear in the first page, right? So what the safest thing to do, okay, is to resize the detail a bit, move whatever is here a little bit to the bottom, okay, and then put your name, center number, and candidate number here using a label. Okay. Right, save it and print preview. There you go. Okay, now if it is only 1 page and you know it's only 1 page, fine, you can actually put it into the report header. Okay, but just be careful. Now looking at question 29, it says further refine your search in step 27 to include only solid state drives with a capacity of 128 or less. Sort these drives into descending order of capacity. Now further refine your search in step 27, right? So you have created a new query based on the previous query in 27. So further refine your search meaning use the query you created in step 27 and create a new query out of it again. So filter in 25, filter more in 27, filter even more in 29. So I'm going to select this, create, query wizard. I'm going to move everything over, next, and I'm going to modify the query design. Okay, with a capacity of 128 or less. Okay, so capacity lesser than 128. Okay, run it. It's even lesser, right? Notice that? Okay, so it says include this list showing only the fields model type GB underscore S, capacity, and price in a document just after the sentence that ends. Okay, now meaning you need to create a report first. Okay, so what you do, select the query you just created, create, okay, report wizard, model, type, GBS, capacity, and price. Next, 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 next. All right, finish. So you have the data here, right? Okay, now what you need to do here is, because it says include the list showing only the fields in the document just after the sentence. Okay, so in order for you to transfer report data to a Microsoft Word document, you have to first export it to Excel first, because it's easier for you to copy and paste that way. So I'm going to right click, export, Excel. I'm going to select the same folder that I was working on previously. Okay, my one is on the desktop. Again, for you guys, it will be in the student drive. Okay, so I'm just going to save it. You can give it any name you want. Okay, and I say open the destination file after the export operation is complete, so I don't need to manually open it myself. Alright, so you see the data here. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to copy and paste it over. Alright. Where is that file? It should be this one. Yeah. So you need to paste it at a solid state drive that you might consider. Right, so you need to paste it here. Okay. So basically, just open your Excel, copy whatever is here, kasih masuk sini. Right? So always remember to use destination style, because it will try to use whatever formatting you have here. Okay, and there you have it. This is what it means. Now, okay, I'm going to stop here first, and then after that, we're going to work on question 29. Right, okay, let's look at question 31. Okay, from all the data, find the cheapest price per GB of a SATA HDD and copy the details into the table in the document. Now, you can't make use of the query you created in question 25 because it says from all the data. Okay, so it means that you need to create a new query from the table. But if you look at the question, it says find the cheapest price per GB. Okay, per GB meaning, okay, you need a calculated field GB. What was that? The price per GB. Okay, and you have already done it in the first query. So in order to make matters easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this query. Right, I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it back in here. Right, copy of blah blah blah. I'm just going to click OK. Right, can you see this? Okay, I'm going to go to design view. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of the criteria that are not needed. SATA, yes. Okay, whether it's a stock item, they did not say whether it is a stock item, so you need to remove it. Okay, I'm going to save it first and I'm going to run it. Okay, you will notice that there's more data compared to this one. 25 versus 26. Well, there's only one more. Okay, now it says find the cheapest price per GB of a SATA HDD. Right? Oh, my bad. So I'm going to go back to design view here, and type is HDD. I'm going to run it. Okay, now the cheapest, right? So I'm going to scroll all the way to the end here because it just wants one record. Okay, and I'm going to say sort smallest to largest. Okay, so alternatively, if you want to, you can create a new report and sort it in ascending order according to price per GB. Okay. So what you need to do right now is, if you look at the table here, you need to copy the model, capacity, price, and price per GB of the HDD from here. You can copy it one by one. okay, and paste it into this table, right? Now, moving on to question 32, it says, from all the data, find the cheapest price per GB of a SATA SSD this time, right? Solid state drive, so let's go back to design view. Instead of HDD, we're going to change it to SSD, right? So run it. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sort it by price per GB, sort smallest to largest. Okay, copy whatever information you need from the first record here that is sorted and paste it into the corresponding cells here. Alright? Okay, we're done.